Hello and welcome to this pilot episode of a Reeve's Rambling. This is ideally meant to be a podcast, that's why I don't mind you seeing behind the curtain, so to speak. And the topics of the podcast will be random, they will be coming out at random times, and, oh yes, there may or may not be jump cuts. This episode will be a maximum of 30 minutes long because that's how much storage I have left on my phone. The visuals don't matter, so they will never be edited, besides cutting to match the audio. Or roughly. So, why did I decide to make a podcast? Well, I was feeling emotional earlier today, so I was thinking to myself some very deep thoughts, and I realised I don't talk about those on the channel. Most of which I don't plan on talking about on the channel. But, of course, some of which I probably will end up when people I care about inevitably perish. And if I ever have a fairly large disease, which is a very emotional time, I will probably end up talking about that. But, on top of which, I was thinking about other things. Philosophical things. As a philosopher myself, I think about those things anyway. Let me just see whether I can adjust the microphone here to a much better height for me. The wire's kind of at its end, though. So, I suppose this'll do. But yes, I figured I would ramble for however long. They'll probably end up being a lot longer than this, provided I record them off not my phone, and as the video doesn't matter so much, I'll probably record them off my webcam directly onto my computer, so there's more memory. Anyway, on with the show. First thing we're going to talk about today is going to be a discussion of dichotomies. A dichotomy, as far as I'm aware, is a sort of all one thing or all the other thing. Good example of this would be, what's a good example normal people would know about? In philosophy, it would be substance dualism, where there are two types of substances where they shouldn't be able to interact with each other because they are completely different. One has matter, one doesn't, etc. So, yeah. But a normal thing would be black and white. There we go. Simple. Why couldn't I think of that earlier? Black and white is a dichotomy. One is all of the colours together, one is none of the colours together. Oddly enough, when you use paint, you kind of get the other effect, where if you mix all the colours together, you get black, but white is all of the colours and black is an absence of colour. Boom, there we go. That's a dichotomy. And I find it strange, because most people, if they say something is the worst, they will probably have it as a dichotomy against the best. But certain things in life are both the worst and the best. I'm not going to give you the main example that I was thinking of, but there is other examples, like ice cream. At certain times, it is the best, whereas at other times, not so much. Those times, it's just bad for you and makes you feel cold and stuff like that. So things can surely be the best and the worst at the same time. Obviously, the best and the worst is a bad example, because that would imply there is nothing worse, and there are obviously things worse than ice cream at any given point. But, you know what I mean, good and bad. So, I'm interested, anyone who is listening to this, because please don't watch the visuals, please. I know I'm looking into the camera right now, and I've been doing that throughout most of this recording, but please don't. They're just going to be appalling, and I just need visuals, and I can't be bothered to think of anything creative, unless I steal what Hello Internet does, and have like a dicky thing, or I make a logo and do what Cortex does. Can you tell which podcasts I listen to? Anyway, I was going to be doing a podcast with one of my housemates earlier this year, and can you tell? Rambling, Reeve, it's me going on now, anyway. But I sent them the audio to edit, because we were going to take it in turns to edit the audio, and then the person who edits the audio doesn't think of the topic, and then vice versa. Like, swap it out every month, do a podcast each month. But that was like in February, and they haven't edited it yet, so I don't think that's going to happen. Oh well. Speaking of that, housemate, however, we'll be streaming again at twitch.tv/Norfolk Streams. There will be a link in the description to this video. It will be a trial run once we've got our new internet sorted out, because hopefully we will have proper Wi-Fi that connects to my computer without disconnecting every 20 or so minutes during streams. Which is upsetting that it does that, because we didn't record and stream our playthrough of Doki Doki Literature Club at the same time. We just streamed it, which meant I did download all of the VODs. But when the stream went down, the video cut out. So there's large chunks of it that were missing, which really upsets me, because that was my first reaction to it, and we went from, must have been like 8 o'clock at night to 2 or 3 in the morning to play through it all. And I did a big old scream. If I remember to, I will add a little audio clip of that now. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure how long that scream lasts, but I'm pretty sure I paused long enough there. And, well, it was great. That was at 2 in the morning, and I didn't realise. Whoops. But, yeah, I thoroughly enjoy streaming, but it's a shame because my situation means that I can't really do it. Yeah, and when I was in my emotional mood earlier, I was sat on a bench in a park, having walked probably nearly a mile to get there, because I took a really long way round, and I sat there pondering the things that I was thinking about, just in the rain, typed up a little note on my phone, and then I got rain on my phone, which isn't good, because my phone isn't in the best condition. I'd show you, except the fact that I'm recording this on my phone right now, so I can't really do that. Actually, yes I can. Boom. See that? No, you can't really see that in the reflection. Damn it! But yeah, I have a little mirror. Anyway. Yeah. I got water on my phone, which one is really bad for my phone, and then two means that the keypad doesn't work properly. So I figured I should probably come indoors and continue my pondering, as much as I do enjoy being out in the rain. It's also why my hair's like this, if you're watching the video. Wapow, I didn't do anything for it to be like this. It's just rainy James hair right now. Yes. So I was walking back here, the shorter route, as opposed to the really long one that I took to get there. And I was thinking to myself, what sort of stuff do I talk about on the channel? Because I kind of wanted to make a video to talk about the thing that I was thinking about at the time. Because I like doing that, but I know that that is not something I should do. Trust me? No. And, yeah. I figured I talk about a lot on the channel, but most of it's just random nonsense and the stuff that's going on in my life. Like, the random nonsense is sort of, well, it is the stuff going on in my life, but also most of my orations most people don't care about. I only talk about things in orations that are current events, and most current events don't interest me, and I only talk about the ones that do. The Reeve rants, they're not even really current events. I know I've only done one or two, but they are things that bother me. Just like I will probably bring up some, like, the English language. If I haven't done one on that, I'll probably do one on that at some point, because that really bothers me. I'm not going to get into it now in case I do a video then. But, yeah, they're just random nonsense for the most part. Counter theory is also going to be random nonsense if I ever get around to actually making it. I know it's on my channel banner and all, but that's mostly just so people can't say that I had the idea first if someone else does it and is super successful. Or even if it's unsuccessful, I just want credit for the idea, to be honest. Though I highly doubt anyone's going to restore that off me. That's quite unlikely. Regardless, yeah, the revlogs are my daily life. I talk about D&D and exams and uni and friends, what I'm doing, what I've done, how I feel, like if I'm tired. Like today's, for example, today is Friday the 24th of August, and today's revlog was less than a minute long, if I'm not mistaken, because I was so fatigued. I'm not sure why I was fatigued, but I was fatigued. So I was effectively just saying, yo, I've been in bed most of the day, I'm going to do this now in case I don't get up again for the rest of the day. Sorry, and have a nice day. Something like that. I understand why I don't get many views on my channel. I personally, if I was interested in the person's life, like, if I watched one of my videos and thought, cool, like, because I wouldn't watch the vlogs first. Definitely wouldn't watch the vlogs first. They're more for me than anything else. But my Dark Souls playthrough, Sniffle Souls, a few years ago. Terrible playthrough, by the way. I'm a bad Dark Souls player as far as people who've played as much as I go, and that was my first ever playthrough. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But still, say I'd watched that and enjoyed it, because Dark Souls is one of the things that got me into someone who used to be my favourite YouTuber. They don't make any of the content I like anymore, but I like them as a person still. That's what invests me into a YouTube channel, is the people. That's why I like Tekken 101. Because he's very open about who he is. He's a perverted weeb. I'm not sure how much of it's an act, because I, like much of his fan base, believe he probably has had sex. And he claims he hasn't. But he goes by his actual name. He's very open about sort of where he lives and stuff. I go by my actual name, James Reeve. I'm open about where I live, in England. Obviously, I bring up where I live more often than that, but I'm not going to just say it. And my vlogs take place in my city where I live, so anyone could recognise where I am at any point. Then, on top of that, Generation Hollow is the one that got me into Dark Souls, and Dark Souls is what got me, in turn, to really appreciate his channel. And he seemed cool. And to this day, I would like to meet him as a individual, not as a YouTuber, just as a person. I think he'd be cool. So if anyone got that impression off of me from any of my other videos, be it my Darksiders or Dark Souls series, be it a Reeve run, a review, an oration, this video right here, right now. Or for some reason, if they did watch a revlog first, if they are into vlogs, just watching them in general, or if I had a particularly clickbait title or anything like that, I don't know, and they were like, this guy, he's weird, I like that, I'm going to watch another one. That's the only reason why I really think anyone would watch the vlogs. But the other ones, I do put effort into them. The theory videos, I put in a rather large amount of effort. Obviously not as much as effort as people like MatPat and the Game Theorists put into their videos. The science done by Austin is phenomenal. I'm not a scientist, I'm a philosopher. I think I don't really calculate too much. I love calculating stuff, but I'm really bad at it, so I just sort of don't. And also, some of the stuff that he calculates requires far more reading than I am happy to do right now. Not because I just don't want to do it. It's just I don't have the energy. I'm not in a place in my life where I'm comfortable committing that much time to something 100% of the time. I'm in a place in my life where I'm barely happy to commit time to, like, just anything, really. It's not a commitment issue as such. It's more of a, I'm not sure if I'll physically be able to keep this up, so I don't want to lie to people issue. And there are probably many reasons for why I may not be able to keep stuff like that up. Obviously, there's the minor fact of the probably 9 years or so of fluctuatory levels of depression, which wouldn't help. There's also the unknown amount of physical issues that I have, such as my elbow. I really want to join pole fitness again at UEA. I go to UEA in September next month. But during, I don't know, April, maybe, I wounded my elbow during performing pole fitness, doing a charity event where it was 24-hour pole-a-thon. I stayed there for 23 of the 24 hours. I got there an hour after it started, just in case anyone didn't show up, I could take their place, because I wanted it to go ahead as we had said it would. Meaning that I was on and off the pole, say, at least 5 minutes every hour, sometimes for at least an hour at a time, and I pushed myself hard that day. I am a beginner level person, even though I've been doing it for 2 years. I haven't really been doing it for 2 years. I did 2, maybe 3 months, and then I stopped because of illness. Then I was too far behind, so I felt I wouldn't go back in the following half of the second semester. Then the following year I joined again and was put into beginner class, where I probably should have started, because they put me into intermediate to start with, my first year. And then I went, and it was great, and I was very nearly intermediate, hence why I was pushing myself so very hard. I wanted to get to intermediate, but I couldn't make Wednesday practice sessions because I have Kung Fu on Wednesdays. So I practiced as best as I could every opportunity I had. And as I didn't have a pole at the time, the 24-hour pole-a-thon was a brilliant chance for me to practice. So I did. I practiced my moves that we did in class. I practiced the moves that we didn't do in class. The ones that I'd done the year before in intermediate. One of which was a butterfly of some sort, which is upside down, one arm and one leg one hand and one leg on the pole to hold yourself up. I did it. I succeeded, and in doing so I tore all of the tendons and or ligaments in this elbow. And so I went to the doctors about it, as it hadn't healed very quickly, and I did some pole after that, and it was not healing. It didn't help in Croatia when I went there, because we had a pole workshop, and I did good in that. Yes, but oh no, the elbow was not enjoying it. So I went to the doctors after I got back, I think, and they said, yeah, you do not want to put any big weights on that for 8 weeks, but then you should be okay to ease back into it. 8 weeks later, I tried to ease back into it by doing basic stuff. A spin. I can't remember which spin it was. It was probably like a chair spin, maybe an attitude, but no, elbow was having none of it. So I invested in some collagen tablets, as they are to help repair that sort of tissue, and I've been taking them ever since, and my elbow is still not better. Yeah, so I may not be able to. I may need to take a while out. How long? I do not know, but probably quite a while. Regardless, that's one of my many physical issues. I don't know whether I have any illnesses or anything which make me unable to sleep, and then that's the reason of my fatigue, or whether I have any illnesses that are the reason for my fatigue. But I also have my mental problems, which is what I assume are the reasons why I can't sleep. And also one of the reasons why I won't be talking about that thing that I have brought up too much this episode, I suppose. Yeah. I don't remember where I was going with that. Well. I suppose this is probably just like an extended revlog, but rather than talking about what's going on in my life, it's going to be talking about other stuff. Just like I brought up dichotomies at the start, though the stuff in my life will also play very important roles, and I'll likely be linking many of the stuff I talk about to stuff in my life. Just like BMI. BMI, the body mass index. It is commonly used to tell you whether you are above, below, or average/normal weight for your height and age and gender. /sex, I suppose. Wouldn't be gender, because you can gender identify as a different sex, but your physicality would still be the same. Regardless, I have to say, my BMI is like 29.8. No, it's 29.7. Yeah, I looked at it up earlier, which I believe is 0.3 off of being morbidly obese. However, if you look at me, like, I know this is a super baggy shirt and all, but like, if I do the Homer Simpson with his skin, I don't really look, as far as I can tell, like someone who is morbidly obese. Like, I'd stand up, but I'm lazy. And also, this is a podcast, so if you're just listening to this, you can't see me anyway. Just, check out a different video on my channel that has me in, like the latest Reeve-vlog. Card in the corner if I'm allowed to do those at this point. I'm not sure which corner it'll be, because sometimes I'm not sure which, but if I can do those, I'll put a card in the corner to the latest Reeve-vlog, or at least a Reeve-vlog, so you can, around the time of this video, so you can see whether I look obese or not. And so I would argue that's probably because most of my weight is probably in my muscle and then bones, because I've had a lot of calcium in my life. So I'm assuming my bones must be incredibly dense. I don't know if that's scientifically accurate or not, but it's an assumption I'm making. On top of which, there is the matter of fact that I've lived with my brother my entire life. He used to sit on me a lot, leading me to try and get him off of me. I failed most of the time, but I pushed my body really hard trying, which was great exercise. And then when I lived at home still, he would just hop on my back and get me to carry him around the house like a taxi. So there's that. Then I had Kung Fu, which builds a lot of muscle. Pole, brilliant exercise for both losing weight and building muscle. So there's that as well. Plus the fact that I do my own exercise regimes. So I'm not sure, because I have a bit of flub. Definitely, I'm like a seal, as far as I can tell. I've got a nice layer of insulatory fat. Yes, I have a bit too much belly fat, and definitely a bit too much, chest fat. But I'm working on it. But it's definitely not 4 stone worth. And according to the people on the thing, I need to lose 4.5, 5 stone in order to be healthy. But it doesn't make sense to me. Because if I lost that much weight, I am sure, definitely sure, that I would have to have either a 0% body fat, or near enough, or lose muscle as well. Neither of those two options are very healthy. Potentially I'd have to do both. That's just not good. Unless, I amputated a leg or something, in which case I would definitely lose that much weight. But I don't want to do that either. I quite like the ability to walk and kick things. And pick up stuff with my feet, because I do that more often than people, I reckon, probably should. Anyway, that's about what I have to say about the body mass index. As far as I'm concerned, it's a load of bollocks. And if you feel healthy, you probably are. If you don't feel healthy, you're probably not. And if you don't feel healthy, try and find out why. One of the main reasons I don't feel healthy is the fact that I struggle to breathe. Most of the time. I struggle to breathe right now. But I continue trying. Which is good, because if not, I'd probably die. But ignoring that small factor, I do breathe frequently. Very frequently. But that doesn't stop me from going to the doctor and being like, yo, I can't breathe properly, help. They tried sorting me out. It didn't work, so I went back. They said that they'd give me a call, let me know what they think after they discuss what the results of my tests and stuff were. Gave me a call. I'm going back on Wednesday. Boom. Sort out your problems, people. Of course, don't sort out small problems that don't waste people's time. If you stub your toe, it hurts a lot, I know. Don't go to the doctors like, I've hurt my toe. Help. If you have a couple of days where you feel a bit tired, don't go in saying, oh, I'm fatigued, because this is how you waste the time and resources of, in England at least, the NHS. And they need their time and resources to treat people with actual problems. I'm not saying that you feeling a bit tired isn't potentially problematic for you, because I know how bad it is feeling tired. Trust me, I've felt tired nearly constantly for the past decade. Thereabouts. It's just not good. So those moments where I don't feel tired, they are phenomenal. But yeah, if you just had a couple off days, it's probably not a big issue. Everyone has them. You probably, if you missed a few days sleep, not in a row, that's really bad for you. But if you've just sort of not slept well for a couple nights, yeah, it's gonna suck. Try, though, at just continuing your usual sleep routine, provided you have a healthy, regular sleep routine, because I know that I don't have one of those. Then, if you feel as though you put on a few pounds, rather than go in and be like, yo, am I obese? Is there a problem? No, just do more exercise, or watch what you eat. Or both, ideally. Less takeaways, less fast food, more of a balanced diet, more cardio, small amount of body weight training. You don't have to join a gym or anything. I hate gyms, personally, even though my brother is overqualified as a gym instructor. He's a personal trainer or whatever the term is. It's, just... I feel as though people don't look after themselves too much. They don't look after themselves enough, or they take their problems too seriously. I mean, come on, it's just life. Why are you here? Why am I here? We don't know. So just make the most of it whilst we are. If you have an issue, yes, it could be a big issue. A stomachache could be a sign of appendicitis. Feeling too tired could be a sign of blimmin' AIDS. Doesn't mean it is. Most of the time it's not. Just use your brain, use some logic. Logic is amazing. It's my favourite thing that I've studied ever. And I'm glad that it's part of, is literally written into the rules of philosophy. So no other subject can try and claim it as their own. I'm looking at you, science. That's right. It does. But regardless of that, and how I feel as though people don't treat philosophy with the respect it deserves, I have to say, I am proud to call myself, firstly, a philosopher, and secondly, someone who tries to make the best out of bad situations. I avoid conflict as much as I can, and I try to assume the best of people. There are people that I just don't trust. I cannot try to see the best in them. I've tried to see the best in them, and it hasn't worked. But my mother earlier was talking about how someone chose to drive into the back of her car once. No, they didn't. They just weren't paying enough attention, or something went wrong and they drove into the back of her car. They didn't consciously choose to drive into the back of her car. I mean, they may have done, but it's very unlikely. Similarly, if, I don't know, someone accidentally splashes you with a car, that doesn't make them a terrible person. If someone stalls their car at a junction, That doesn't make them a terrible person. They didn't choose to do that. Things just happen. Problems happen. My brother so often always complains about people driving slowly or poorly. Driving, that's going to be a topic of a Reeve run at some point. Just because you have places to go, brother, because I know you watch these, well, some of my videos. Just because you have places to go doesn't mean that nobody else has equally as important places to go. I know that sometimes you seem to think of yourself as more important than everyone else, but, you know, I'm sure other people think of themselves as more important than you and will treat you in the exact same way that you treat everyone else. Regardless, I've run out of time because I've nearly ran out of memory on my phone, so I suppose I will catch you cats on the flip-flop. I'm not sure if I'm going to be recording any more of these or not, but goodbye.